Let's bring in ABC News contributor and Cardozo law professor Kate Shaw. Kate, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the Texas federal judge was blistering in his attack of this abortion law. What struck you the most in his ruling?
Well, that's right, Phil. It was a blistering opinion. I was struck by its length. So this was 113 pages long, and its speed. The judge wrote this opinion in 5 days. The argument happened Friday. We had the opinion Wednesday night. It really stood in contrast to the Supreme Court's one-paragraph order allowing the law to go into effect just over a month ago on September 1st. Fast forward 5 weeks and in a different lawsuit, and you have this district court take a very good look at the case, at the law, and basically say Texas is not only flagrantly violating the constitutional rights of its citizens. The Supreme Court has said the Constitution protects a right to choose to terminate or to carry to term a pregnancy, so long as it is prior to fetal viability. So, about 24 weeks of pregnancy. This ban kicks in at 6 weeks. So is completely inconsistent with the Supreme Court's cases announcing and sort of articulating this right to decide to terminate a pregnancy. But not only is the law substantively unconstitutional, it's almost diabolical in the way it has been crafted to evade judicial review. This is what the judge said. Texas has deliberately tried to keep courts out of the business of weighing in on the constitutionality of its law, and I just can't let it stand. Texas citizens won't go another day under this unconstitutional law is essentially the note the opinion ended on.
Last month, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to block the laws, which set up this battle. So how come a federal judge who's lower on the judicial ladder was able to pause it?
No, that's right. So about a month ago, the court let the law go into effect, didn't intercede in a case brought by clinics that challenged the law's constitutionality. So fast forward to a month later, and the case that was brought and resulted in yesterday's opinion was actually brought by the federal government, right? So basically, the federal government, after seeing the Supreme Court's unwillingness to step in, said, we, the United States, have an interest in ensuring the constitutional rights of all citizens are protected and that a state government cannot step in and again, flagrantly violate the rights of its citizens. So this is a suit brought by the United States, the Biden Justice Department, or Garland's Department of Justice, and basically making the same arguments that the clinics were making, that the law is unconstitutional. But of course, it's a different plaintiff now, right? It's the federal government. And so the district court basically said the federal government has a right to be in this court, and the federal government is right that this law violates the Constitution. So we'll see if the Fifth Circuit and the Supreme Court agree with what the district court has written, both about the federal government's right to be in court in the first place and about the substantive constitutionality of the Texas law.
So if right now, as we're speaking, the law is paused, explain to us why Texas women who want abortion services are still in limbo.
Absolutely, they are still in limbo. So the law has a bunch of different provisions. One of the provisions of the law basically says, even if you relied on a judicial ruling, so if you're a defendant, say you've been sued for violating the law, it is no defense to say that a court struck the law down, found the law unconstitutional, if a later court reverses that ruling, right? So even if the Texas clinics are acting perfectly lawfully under what this federal district court has ruled, if the Fifth Circuit later disagrees or the Supreme Court later disagrees, that removes their ability to offer as a defense that they were acting consistently with the law as interpreted by this federal district court. All that said, it sounds as though at least some providers on the ground have already begun providing abortion care that would violate this law, SB 8. So although certainly some providers seem to be too concerned about the potential liability risks of proceeding with offering abortion care beyond 6 weeks of pregnancy, at least some in the state have today said publicly that they are beginning to resume offering the same care they provided before this law went into effect. But of course, they are only able to do that unless and until the Fifth Circuit or the Supreme Court steps in and potentially reverses the district court. I think everyone thinks there's a very good chance the Fifth Circuit will not let this ruling stand, at least indefinitely.
Finally, Kate, I'm curious, if that's the case and it goes to the Supreme Court, how long do you think this could take, and what happens to Roe?
Well, the case could be up before the Supreme Court very quickly. The court already has in front of it a case out of Mississippi challenging a 15-week abortion ban. That's scheduled for argument December 1st. So it seems unlikely that this Texas case could be in front of the court before December 1st, but it's not inconceivable it could arrive around the same time. The court could even potentially consolidate the two cases and hear them together. So certainly by the end of this term, I think the Supreme Court will have weighed in on both this Mississippi law and the Texas law. So that's by about June or July at the latest. And what happens to Roe? I mean, I think that Roe as we know it will likely not endure beyond the end of the Supreme Court's term. Whether the court overturns Roe outright or really narrows the scope of the constitutional right to abortion, I think is the big question. It could say we're not going to overrule Roe. There is some constitutional protection for abortion rights, but a state can prohibit abortion after, say, 15 weeks of pregnancy. That would really reduce the availability of abortion to basically just the first trimester of pregnancy. So I think that's entirely possible. And if that's the case, maybe another term or two, and the court could actually overturn Roe outright. But at least if the Supreme Court's composition doesn't change, it seems to me that Roe as the law of the land is likely to remain, in effect as, only for at most the next couple of years. But I think it's probably not long for this world.
Kate Shaw, thank you for the expertise and for the conversation tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.